Good afternoon. Welcome to Wig Tip Tuesday with V. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about measuring our heads so that we can get a better fit. If you go to Franny's website for frannyshair.com and look in the blog post section, Ellen Villa's representative did a segment on measuring. I watched it. I felt it was excellent, except that I think there are some other measurements that have to be taken into consideration also. So this is why I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit about measuring here. When you have a petite sized head, or you have a large head, you're not average, just average. I think some of these other measurements become increasingly important that you need, besides predominantly just your circumference and your hairline over the top to just below the occipital. So that's what we're going to talk about. So the wig that I'm wearing today is Ryan by Estetica. It's one of my very favorites. I own 3 Ryans. This one is in color 1488 RT8. I have 2 of those. And I have one in chrome, chrome RT1B. That always sounds like a mouthful to me. And today I'm also videoing without my glasses. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that I wear trifocals, and it's very difficult for me to see myself as I'm videoing without my glasses. However, the new lighting I'm trying out shows a purple coloration in my glasses because I have blue light blocking in them also. So that's kind of distracting. So we'll try to do this without glasses and see how we go. I just ask that you give me a little bit of grace with this. I'm working on lighting, I'm working on sound, and I'm trying to bring you all the information that I've gleaned over 12 years of wearing wigs. I'm not a professional. I'm a 73-year-old grandma, and I just want people to know what I've learned and how to get the best fit possible, how to be happy with their wigs, how to own them, how to make them so that they're yours, because they are your hair. They can be an accessory, they can just be fun, or they can be that very thing that puts you back into touch when you look in that mirror that says, there I am, I'm still relevant. Guess what? I haven't disappeared when my hair disappeared. So let's get on with this. Oh, by the way, with Ryan, my side is shorter than Ryan truly is. It's actually, this bang is normally, I think it says a 6 to 10 inches. When I got it, it came right down to here, and this side was like this. I have trimmed the side in all my Ryans. I think they look great on other people down to here. I just wasn't for me. And I like it asymmetrical, the side shorter and this one longer, but I like it more at this length. So I trimmed it with thinning shears. Never trim with regular shears because it will get it blunt cut. Then I had to trim a little bit up into here to make it grade up. Had a gradation, so it kind of went like that because it gets very short in the back. But this is about measuring today. So we're going to, I'm going to take this unit off, and we're going to use a cloth measuring tape. In the other video, I believe it was a metal one used, and that kind of would scare me, but it's because knowing me, I'd probably cut myself on it. But anyway, let me take this off. Try not to be frightened, because you're going to see the real me. I am just a real person here who's trying to do the best she can. So let's take this off. Oh, my wig grip came with it. As long as I've got this off, you'll see that my own hair is cut very short. I'm very thin up here. Very thick back here, but I buzz it down in the summer because wigs are really hot. And I wear a wig grip, but I do something different to it. See the curves in it? When I put that on my head, that fits around my ears, and the wig grip goes right at the bottom of where your head curves And you can feel the indentation underneath. It doesn't go way down to where your hairline ends. It goes up right under the occipital bone. Okay, if you don't have a bump there, you can feel and see if your finger dents in, if you can feel a ridge above it, that's, you do have one. But if you have more of a flat head, that's going to be maybe a little more problematic for you to have your wigs not ride up. But you can use, it stays on the grip and put it in place, and it stays as a body adhesive that you can get on Amazon, and it's great. It's just water soluble, white washes right off. It doesn't do any damage to your skin or anything, or to the wig or to the grip. But gluing the grip in place during the day will keep the hair from riding up. And don't pull the adjusters in too far, because that can, if you have a flattened back here, because that can make it seem like the wig is too small, and too small wigs on someone will tend to ride up in the back also. So let's get on with this. Now I'm going to take the grip off because I want to measure without, show you how to measure without the grip. I have measured my head with the grip and without it. It's close, maybe a little bit bigger. So normally everybody's talking about circumference, okay? And that's all well and good. You need to know that. However, there are other measurements that you need to know too. But let's first get the circumference. And first you're going to put it up here in the middle on your hairline. Let me see, maybe I can turn this around so these numbers will look like they are right side up to you. Okay. If you see me looking in a strange place, I have a television screen behind me, behind my phone that I'm videoing on, so that I can see myself further away in it. All right, so when you get up here, right at your hairline, you go in and you look at what it says. You can see that mine is 20.5 inches. Okay, so I have a 20.5 inch circumference. And remember, in the back here, it's underneath that occipital bone, that bump that you feel in your head. Okay, so you're keeping it straight, right? That's your circumference. You write that down, your circumference. Mine is 20.5. All right, so then I go from my hairline, and I could do from my widow's peak. Usually I'm putting my hair, my unit of wig, where there's not, maybe a tiny bit of that showing, but sometimes not. It's a considerable difference for me, as you can see, between my widow's peak and the rest of my hairline. Almost an inch. So I'm going to kind of put it right there, and we'll see. Then I'm going to go back. I got to figure out 7 inches. You go to 7 inches. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Sorry. Different measurement. You guys will have to put up with me. Then I'm going to go all the way back to right under where I feel that ridge and the dent where my occipital bone is. Can you see it back there? And I got my finger on the number. And I am 11.5 inches. So I'm write that down, 11.5 inches. So that is my front of the head over the top to just under the occipital bone. Okay, that's so it's over top. So then you're going to want to do from ear to ear over the top. Remember on this one though that I went back 7 inches. Oh no, I'm going to go back 7 inches now. Boy, I'm having a senior moment. This whole video is a senior moment. What can I say? Here we go. I'm going to go back 7 inches to make this over the ear, over the top of the head to the ear. So that means that's where my tape is going to go, where this 7 inches is. I'll leave my finger there. Now bring this over, touch where my ear hooks onto my head. Right there. Come over here where the ear touches onto the head. And I am 11.5 inches there also. So I am 20.5 around. I am 11.5 from the hairline to the back right there. And I am 11.5 from ear to ear. Okay, now writing all those down. So then I'm going to measure how long is my face from my hairline to the point of my chin. Not my double chin. My actual chin. And you don't want to go by your nose, so over top of your nose, from what I've read. So here we go. Where am I at? Oh, I'm about 7.5. If I'm up at that hairline up there, see. If I come down to my widow's peak, which is about here, I am 7 exactly. Okay. So, what do those measurements mean? They can tell you whether or not you're petite, whether you're average, whether you fall in the large category. I'm not even going to talk about face shapes because that enters into it too. I think I have a rectangular or a square face, but regardless. But different hairstyles accentuate different facets of your face shape also. That's another whole subject for another time, and it's complicated. So I want to tell you some things and some charts that I pulled up on what these measurements mean. I'll put a link off to the side in this video so that you can look some of these up yourself. But I found on another wig site where the ear, where we did the circumference measurement, average was considered to be 22 inches. That kind of surprised me because I always thought that once you were 22 inches, it was considered large. But I guess that's up to 22 inches is considered average. Petite average is 21.5. Petite is 21. Child is 19 inches. Average large is 22.5, and a large is considered to be 3 inches. That's on one particular chart. That's the circumference. So now the ear-to-ear one, it says that 12 inches is a child. Thinking maybe I'm a newborn. I don't know. And the front to back from over here, a child is 12 inches also. I'm under that. Petite would be 13 and 13 and a quarter this way. A petite average would be 13 and a quarter this way, and 13.75 front to back. An average would be 13 and a half here, the 22-inch circumference, and a 14 and a quarter over the top. An average large would be 13 and 3/4 ear to ear, 22 and a half circumference, and a 14.75 this way. And a large would be 14, circumference of 23, and over this it would be 15 and a half. Now, there's more than one thought on this. Okay, so there was another chart I found that had a child size circumference at 20 inches and ear to ear and over the top at 12. It had a petite as a 21-inch circumference, and it had 13 this way and 13.25 this way. A petite average, which is a lot of Ellen Villa wigs are considered petite average. I've found many of them to be more on the petite side than what I would consider average, because I don't have to alter them or take tucks in them for them to fit. Excuse me for seeing purple in my glasses. I can't do anything about that at the moment. So this other chart also says that average would be the 21.5 circumference, 13.5 ear to ear, and 13.75 over here. That an average large would be 22.25 and 13.75 here and 14.75 this way. A large would be a 23 in circumference and 14 ear to ear and 15.5 this way. So there's a little bit of variance in these charts, but you kind of get the idea. So it gives you an idea whether when a reviewer is trying on a wig and they say, okay, you know that their circumferences will say 22 inches and it feels very tight on them, then, or it doesn't have very much stretch in it, you know that it's probably going to be a bit uncomfortable. If you had, say, a 23 inch, it wouldn't be recommended. It would be too tight on you. It would number one, it'd give you a headache. Number two, it'd ride up in the back. Right? So, but there are certain wigs that, like for me, some wigs I can actually wear without altering them, without them being a petite size. Other wigs, I can't. I have to sew a tuck horizontally. I've done a vertically one once. I figured that out by when I put it on, if I grab up here in the crown into the wig, and I can grab a handful of wig that is not pressed against my crown, then it's too big. Or I could go down here, and if I can roll it up in the back, and it looks like suddenly this came down and it felt like it fits better, then I know that there's that width that I rolled it up that I'm going to have to take wefts in. I mean, kind of like a tuck, if you were taking a tuck in something. But I don't cut that after I've sewn it, the excess, because you won't feel it. And on top of that, if it came unsewed, I'm only using a needle and thread by hand. If it came unsewed, my wig would be shot. If I didn't cut it off, my wig wouldn't be shot. If it came unsewn, I would just resew it. So I'm going to tell you what I found online also, what they say, what brands they think fall into what categories. So ones that fit slightly smaller than average, what I found stated, they were the brands of Amore and Belle Madame. I don't think you can even get Belle Madame in the US. I believe you have to only get it from the UK. Ellen Villa, of course, that's from Europe also, but has come over with a US variety of wigs. Envy, I have never had to take an Envy in, and I own, I think, 3 Envy. I've never had to take one in, and yet they're relatively stretchy. And Noriko, I've actually even had to, when I weighed 100 pounds more, my head was a little bit bigger, I actually had to enlarge a Noriko to fit me. In some styles, Noriko does make a large, but then some of them will be even a little stretchier. There's a 20% variance in these wigs, and in their color, within a style even, how the curl pattern is, or the length of it, from maybe the original one that you got, and even some of them, I think, in the amount of stretch that they have. Tressallure is considered to be run slightly smaller than average, and something called Natural Image, which I've never heard of, in all honesty. So smaller than average, I definitely would put Ellen Villa and Noriko in that category. But some Norikos fit average size women just fine. I wore a lot of Noriko wigs when I was maybe an inch bigger in my head circumference when I weighed more. And then true to average, being the 22.5 circumference, is, they state, Gabor, Henry Margaux, John Renault, main attraction, Raquel Welch, Renee of Paris. And by the way, Renee of Paris actually they own, I believe, Noriko, and they consider Noriko to be a collection of theirs. They carry some of the same colors, and but they're much stretchier. They run quite large on me, Renee of Paris wigs too, whereas Noriko are smaller and have more permatease. But a lot of their color palette is similar, except you can get some cooler blondes in Renee of Paris. They're a little bit harder to find in Noriko. And a brand called Tonya Beverly, which I have no experience with. And ones that fit slightly larger than average are considered to be Belle Tress, which you can get that at Franny's. So it's a nice stretchy wig, and it fits Franny fine. And she has, I believe, a 21.5 circumference. I'm not really positive on that. Could be 22. I'll have to look that up. Sorry, Franny. And they have Estetica listed in this, and a brand named Hairdo. Now, Estetica for me is kind of I seem to be drawn to Estetica wigs, so it's kind of an if whether or not it's going to be too big for me. On my Ryan wigs, the 3 that I have had to take all of them in because they were too large for me, about 3 wefts. I have 2 jets from Estetica, and they fit me fine. I did not have to take them in at all. I have another one called Perry, and I did not have to take Perry in. It fit me fine. I had to pull the adjusters in, so I had maybe only about an inch in the middle left, and then they fit fine. So I don't consider Estetica wigs to be run slightly larger than average. If anything, I would say they would be more average. But they do have good stretch in them. So you might be able to get away with it if you are kind of on that border between the 22 and the 23. And try them. So I just wanted you to know that what makes a big difference about some of this is, let's say that we have you have somebody that is a reviewer and you don't know their circumference, and this wig goes great on them. You have really nothing to compare it to how it's going to look on your face, because you don't know how big their head is, you don't know how long their face is, and so on. For example, with my face being somewhere between 7 and 7.5, depending on which of these hairlines you want to go by, what if the person reviewing it had a 9-inch face and they were 2 inches longer from hairline? To me, this would be 9 inches right here. So if it said that the side, the top was 10 inches, we'll say. Remember, this is 9. Well, the bang, say the bang was 9 inches. Because on some longer wigs or bobs or lobs, you can get a 9-inch side. Okay, so let's say that here's where 9 inches would be on me, down here. But someone with a 9-inch face, it would hit them at the chin. But me, it's going to hit down here. So if you're looking at a bang and it says, okay, it has a 6-inch bang, right? So all you have to do is put your hand, you're thinking, now is that going to be long, or where's it going to come on me? Take your 6 inches, put it at your hairline, put it right in the middle, move it. It's going to, with 6 inches on me, look at where it's going to be, at my mouth, in the center of my face. Then 6 inches. See, if I just keep moving it over, this will tell you where it's going to hit me at the side by keeping it right in the middle. So that might be a nice side if I want it down that far. Perry's kind of like that on me. Over here. See where it would come on me? If it said it had a 9-inch, it's going to be down there. Over here, it's going to be down there. put it in the middle. So if it said the top was 10 inches, the crown was 10 inches, I put it in my crown, and look where I'm going to be, way down here. So can you see how, say I have a 2 inch, another measurement would be good for you to know, is that your forehead measurement from your brow bone to your hairline. Mine is about 2.5 inches. Right, so if you have a taller forehead, then it's got a 3-inch bang. 3-inch bang on me is going to be right here hanging over my eyebrows. But a 3-inch bang on you might be just hitting at your eyebrows. So you might have to trim them or pull the wig back a little if you have a short forehead like me. However, the hair, I want to talk about that hairline and where you put the wig. Okay, so let me take these off because I'm seeing purple zone again. I'm sorry. Forgot I had them on for a minute. When you put a wig on, let me find my Ryan here again. When I put her on, I'm going to put the front of it, I'm going to hold it by the nape. I'm going to put the front at my eyebrows. I'm going to pull it back just over the occipital bone. Seat it there. There should be stays in the back that you pinch that hold it flat against your head. If you have a pixie, really short back, and there are no stays in there, you're going to have trouble with that. When you bend your head down, it's going to pop up. So you want pixies, you want them with a stay in. And the extended nape will make you have a little more length in the back. A lot of longer wigs do not need, nor do they have extended napes, because the hair hangs way over them. You don't need that. It stays down. The hair keeps it down. But with pixies, having that extended nape gives you a little more length. So when I put it here, when I put it on, there's where it was. Okay. So now I got to find my hairline, right? So I'm going to pull it back, and the rule of thumb is that you're going to have it, your hairline is going to be somewhere around 3 to 4, maybe 4.5 finger widths of your fingers, which are going to be proportionate to your size. See where mine is? My widow's peak is, well, here's my brow bone. The 4 inches is at my hairline. If my widow's peak were showing, it'd be more like 3.5, not inches, I'm sorry, finger widths. Would be more like 3.5 finger widths. So the average person is going to be around 4 to 4.5 finger widths. So if you have a larger forehead than that, think about this. You might want to move your wig to where it's 4.5 inches from where your natural hairline is, which might be more appealing and accentuate your eyes and etc. more. If you think you have a really long or tall forehead, okay? Or maybe your hairline is receding, or maybe you don't have any hair, or you don't have any eyebrows and you have to put those on. Well, look for your brow bone. That would be where your eyebrows should be, is on that brow bone. You can feel it. That's where you start measuring where your eyebrow would be on the brow bone. Okay, and then you go up and figure, okay, then my hair should be right about at that 4 finger mark, or 4.5. Now, see, to me, that looks a little high for me on me. So I might pull it down just so you can barely see. And then she's more like the right length on me. So keep in mind that 4 to 4.5 finger, or 3.5 on some people, is what you want to look for above that brow bone. If you had no hair up here, that would give you a really good idea as to where the front edge of this wig should be. Okay. So I think it's really important that you think about these sizes when you're ordering a wig, that you think about the size of the reviewer. Watch different reviewers. Usually when I buy a wig, I watch 2 or 3 reviewers. I try to find someone who has a petite face or a small face that's wearing a wig I'm thinking about. And I also like to watch them because some of them don't show you any styling tips, and some of them show you a lot of styling tips. All right, so if I'm hedging on a wig, because I think long and hard before I buy one, I don't have a lot of money to just spend on mistakes, and I've made my fair share of them over 12 years. I mean, I've gotten wigs that I couldn't return, I've bought them on clearance, or I've got them home and I quickly did something foolish to them, and in trying to style it or trim something, and I can't send it back, and I don't wear it. So I try to pass those on to women that I know are struggling and they're in need because they have alopecia or they have cancer and they really can't afford. So I try to find people who are in need, who it might look good on, but just didn't happen to look good on me or didn't work for me. So, but knowing your measurements and knowing your face shape and knowing your all of your sizes is really helpful. One thing is I wear glasses all the time. My glasses need to be on me all the time. I have trifocals. I can't wear progressive lenses. So I have a line. I have 2 lines. And I have blue light blockers in them. They gray down in bright light because I've had blood vessels that did some leaking in my eye, and I had to go to a retina specialist for that. Thankfully, that's all taken care of, and I didn't need any procedures done. And so I'm real careful with my eyes, but I do need to wear glasses all the time. So what do you do with all that bulk when you've got a wig grip on and you've got ear tabs? And like the Aesthetica ear tabs, I think are pretty nice because they're not huge. I mean, they're a good size. They're probably, I would say, a little bit longer than the first bend of my finger, which is most likely about 1.25 inches long. And I'll come in for a little closer look here. And they're just covered with hair on this side, and they're, I think, maybe kind of a lace fabric or something on the inside there. I'm not sure. I'm just feeling it right now. I can't remember. But they have all, or they, oh, I told you this whole video is a senior moment. Anyway, talking about the ear tabs. When your ear tabs are down here, let me take the glasses off and show you. You want to be able to have a finger's width in between where your ear hooks onto your head and where the wig and the grip are. That's why I cut the area out, because I wear glasses all the time. I have to have them. I can't have them over top of the ear tabs or the ear tabs going on top of them where that will make them askew, because it makes me dizzy. Hey, I'm dizzy enough without my glasses making me that way, right? So with these ear tabs, I can usually bend them. See how they're kind of like over? Right now they're sitting right there by the bow. I just can kind of even bend them a little bit flatter, and they'll slide right underneath my bows. So I just work at it a tiny bit. That little bit under I can manage, as long as I know that the rest of it back here, see that? Sitting on my ear. It's not sitting way up here on the side of the wig and the grip. So anyway, I hope this has helped you out. I hope you got some information from it. Hope it's not too broken up by running out of battery and the purple glare in my glasses. So just work with me on this, and I'll get this right sooner or later. And I'm glad you came today, and I'll see you next Tuesday for another tip. You take care and have a blessed day.